So this is not the weather I had in mind when I booked this time off work. I normally forget one or two bits. I've stopped off in Grassington. I do need some camping gas. Would you believe it? I really struggled to find some. The outdoor shops that I thought might stock it were closed, maybe even closed for good. So I had to go to the hardware shop at the top end of the village. Anyway, back to the car. So welcome back, welcome to the Yorkshire Dales. I nearly didn't make it here today, and this certainly wasn't the weather that I had in mind when I booked the time off work. I had initially planned to go to the Lake District, but I was checking the weather forecast and I looked at a couple of webcams this morning as well, and I thought, look, if I'm going to be walking in the cloud, I might as well be walking in the cloud a little bit nearer to home than having to drive an extra hour and a half just to get there. So I've opted for plan B. I've parked in Buckden and I'm now following the Dales way. It's been a good couple of weeks since I was last out, and I camped out on the border ridge at the end of the Pennine Way, and the weather was autumnal, but at least it was fine. Temperatures definitely dipped a bit, and the weather forecast said there was going to be a significant wind chill as well. So I'm packed for winter, and I kind of guess when you think of winter camping, automatically brings to mind snow and ice and all that sort of stuff. But in all honesty, milder wet winters are what we're kind of used to. That's what I'm prepared for today. I'm not anticipating any great views. Could be a bit different in the morning though. This mist might clear a bit overnight. Keep my fingers crossed for that. But I've got a trig point to aim for, and I've also got a tarn I can camp beside, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it's just been really difficult trying to find an opportunity to get out. Been busy at work, it's been half term, been away with the family to Pickering, and because I got some walking done while I was there, I didn't necessarily feel I had to top up my well-being battery. I was quite satiated, but the time's come for me to get out again and hopefully get a long decent winter camping. So I nearly missed this path that cuts across the open fell side, because I was trying to avoid some of those cows. They were behind an electric fence anyway, so they weren't going to go anywhere. But I knew this was going to be steep, and it's not letting me down. So I'm going to cut through this woodland, and then I'm going to turn southwest across some open fells until I reach the fence line. I'm going to turn right, head northwest, and that should take me all the way to the trig point. I know it's potentially boggy, we'll just deal with it. And the track so far have been pretty good. I can't complain at all, but this pack is really heavy. I'm not sure whether there's any decent water sources up there, and I'm not prepared to take a chance. So I've decided to carry my water in, be considerably lighter when I walk out in the morning. Well, I've reached the wall, just got to follow this now, across this boggy path, and this should take me all the way to the trig point. And if you come for the views, you're going to be disappointed. Stick around until tomorrow morning, because things might change. There's meant to be some better weather coming in from the west. Just might push through. We just might get a slice of it in the morning. But it's surprisingly mild, and there's very little wind. It's never a bad thing, and there's no rain forecast either. And because we've hit the top of the ridge, there shouldn't be too much elevation now. It just should be some steady walking all the way, he says. Getting over that star with a big pack was a bit tricky. I went back for the GoPro, took it off, wasn't going to squeeze through it again, and the wall's made an excellent handrail, but you leave it behind and the map is sending me across this moorland. It's really boggy, the path's quite indistinct. I'm really going to need to concentrate for a little while. Once I reach the trig point though, it shouldn't be too bad. Now, the map is telling me that in that direction there is a wall, and I've had a decent view apart from what I've got, maybe 30 metres max. I'll probably be able to see it. I'm just going to concentrate for a little while and make my way through this mess. So at 607 metres, this is the trig point summit of Firth Fell. And if you have a look, there's somewhere just round about there that'll be absolutely superb for the tent. I would preferably like to get a little bit nearer the wall because it will act as a fantastic windbreak, but that's flat and grassy and it'll do a job. Now about half a mile in that direction is the tarn, Burke's Tarn. There might be something there as well, so I've got plenty of daylight left. Sun doesn't set till around about 4 o'clock. I'll have a little look in that direction. I'll see what we can find. If not, this will be absolutely superb. So look, I've made an executive decision. The path over that way is all right. And actually pick up a paved path, and that's the path that I want to take me back down to the valley tomorrow morning. But I can't see anything. I'm not guaranteed a pitch when I get to the tarn either. So what I've done is I've gone in a circle and I've come all the way back to the top of Burke's Fell. I'm going to pitch here. It's as good as anywhere. This will do for tonight. That went up in about 10 minutes and I'm quite impressed with that. I pitched it into the wind, should remain nice and solid through the night. I'm not expecting the wind to get up too much, but you never know. So I'm going to put everything in the tent and then I'll bring you back then. So tonight I've gone with the OEX Leviathan 900. That's my winter bag. I really want to test it out and I think the temperature will drop sufficiently tonight to let me know what it's really like. I've got my thermarest pad and I've got a pillow as well, so I should be quite comfy. So just while I wait for the water to boil, could be another couple of minutes yet, I'll show you what I've got for tea tonight. I haven't got a fire pot meal. What I've done is I've emptied Bachelor's pasta and sauce into here, put boiling water in, 5 minutes, cheese and broccoli, that'll be really good. I've got some biltong beef jerky as a snack, and then I've also got a Scotch egg in here, which I'll probably have later on. And then for dessert, I got some really good comments about the key lime pie that my missus had made for my birthday last time out. So what I've done this time, I've got some Yorkshire Parkin, which I'll have for dessert. My missus made that as well. And then to cover it off, I'm going to warm up some ambrosia custard. So I'm not going to go hungry tonight. I'm really impressed with that. I'm really sorry, I've still got those hippie tea bags as well. Let that stew for a while. Just while I'm waiting for my tea to cook, I don't know about you, but I've really struggled to adjust the clocks going back this time round. So I know I'm in for a long night in the tent, but I've been waking up at 4:30 in the morning, where normally my alarm would go off and I would wake up at 5:30 on a morning. On a morning, that's for work, that is. On a weekend, I sleep in slightly longer anyway. And then on a night, I'm struggling to stay awake much past around about 8:15. I'm normally in bed for somewhere between 9 and 9:30. And then I read for a little bit, but at the moment, I'm struggling to stay awake on a night and watch television. Last night I was asleep on the sofa by about 8:15. So I'm not entirely sure what sort of a night I'm going to have, but I brought my Kindle. I've got a good book to read, and I can always listen to a podcast or do a meditation or some other hippie shit, and then just take it from there. But it's just really good to be out. I'm not too bothered that I haven't got a view. I'm not doing it just for that. I'm doing it to get out and just get a bit of headspace and enjoy being, you know, in such a wild environment. Just wish I could see a bit more. So this should just be about cooked now. There you go. That's the cheese and broccoli flavour. Not entirely sure if it's seen any broccoli. Yeah, but it's just cooked right the way through and it's hot. And there's plenty of it. So I'm going to tuck into that. And then I'll bring you back for dessert. Right, well I warmed the custard up by placing it in my hot tea and just letting it stand. And to be honest, it's taken the cold edge off it. There you go. That's the parking my missus made. There's a little bit of custard on top. Absolutely fantastic. There you go. And here's the taste test. Perfect. I know my missus is watching. I couldn't say anything less than a 10 out of 10, could I? So at least I'm up in my dessert game. And if there's any other desserts you'd like to see my missus make and me to bring and eat, particularly on my next camp, just let me know. Could do a bake-off special. God, there really is just nothing to see. Right, well that was delicious. I hope you've enjoyed me enjoying eating that. God, that was easy for me to say. So while I've been sitting here, I've just been monitoring the temperature. Okay, it's quite a balmy 7 degrees. Well, that's dropped a little bit. When I arrived here and set up, it was around about 9 degrees. So I'm expecting it to get a little bit colder tonight, that's for sure. So if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know which pudding you'd like me to try next. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It's free, you don't need to buy me anything, and all that interaction helps the channel grow and reach more people. I do appreciate it. That tea's still hot. Right, I'll get packed away and then I'll bring you back once I'm inside. Right, so it's nearly dark outside. It's only about 5 o'clock as well, so it's going to be a really, really long night in the tent. But I'm prepared for it. Going to watch a little bit of TV. Got a couple of Netflix programmes that I've downloaded. Got my Kindle, and then whatever happens, happens. It should be set for quite a quiet and restful night. Can hear the grouse outside as well, flying past. Hopefully they'll settle down soon as well. Won't keep me awake. And if I do struggle to get to sleep, I've got a little tot of whiskey with me tonight. Just might take the edge off it. Anyway, if nothing else happens, I'll see you again in the morning. Well, good morning. It's about 7:15. I have to say I had a pretty good night's sleep. In all honesty, I was pretty warm. And I've checked the temperature this morning. There you go, that's inside the tent. So no wonder I'd just stripped down to my boxers and my thermal top. It was really good. This sleeping bag is absolutely superb. Now there was a little bit of condensation down the bottom end of the tent where the tent was facing the wind. I was kind of conscious of that. I didn't want the bottom of my sleeping bag getting wet because it would affect how the down performed. This sleeping bag doesn't have a Pertex coating, so it isn't water resistant. So what I did was I got the stuff sack that I store my tent in and wrapped that over the bottom of the sleeping bag. So if it did come into contact with the bottom of the tent, it wasn't going to get wet. It's a 35 litre Osprey dry sack and it did the trick. And I just made sure that I stopped at the other end of the tent. So I'm going to have my porridge. I'm really pleased that I did go and get a new canister of gas because I've just had one on to boil for a cup of tea and it's run out, so I'm going to have to put the new one on. But happy days. Once I've had this and seen my coffee off, I'll get packed away and I'll bring you back. So I got packed away nicely. leave no trace as always, you know the drill. And I'm starting to make my way off the hill. Remember yesterday when I said there might be a weather front coming in from the west, might brighten things up? Well, I don't think it's got here yet. This is just as thick as it was last night. But I did sleep pretty well, and I'm grateful for that. But putting the tent away this morning, it's damp and it's cold, and as soon as you stop moving, you really feel it. Well, I'm about 1400 metres and there's still no sign of this clag lifting. It's really setting, and the path's easy to follow. The only thing I'm going to lose is my footing, because it started off on decent stone flags, but because they were wet, they were really slippy. I was convinced I was going to go over. And then at the moment you've got a decent grass track, and then that spills out into a right bog fest. It's been really slow going. I'm not going to lie, I am enjoying it. I just wish I could see something. And this is exactly what I mean when I say about a bog fest. We're about 1,000 feet in elevation. I think I might have said 1400 metres before. Now that would have been something. I think this clag's setting all the way to the valley bottom. There's still some autumn colours about. So it's a good place to leave it here. Thanks as always for watching. Hopefully I'll get out within the next couple of weeks. I've always got my eye on the weather, and I'll see you next time.